Ladies and gentlemen, the Wrestling Fans Podcast, Ringside Society, proudly presents to you another amazing episode of 15 Minutes of Fandom. In our first corner, we have the greatest thing on God's green earth. No, we're not talking about money, Mary Jane, or Popeye spinach. He's the Trackle Dart of Ringside Society and Delaware's greatest American hero. It takes two to make a thing go right. He's Rob Bass, and you are not. And the second corner, we have that ocean crossing, straight up busting, flight catching, shot glass snatching, always on the go. Catch him if you can. Said his name in Guyana. Now they love him in Japan. No cap, the worldwide star boy, Remy Blue. And our special guest tonight is one half, well, actually the other half, because we had his brother, Nate Outrage, on our show a couple of months ago. But to our special guest tonight is the other half of one of the newest wrestling podcasts on the block. That's right, Outrageously Chaotic. Everybody, straight from the Lone Star State, Texas. Welcome to the show, Chaotic Nick. Nick, how you doing today,
Woo!
man?
I am doing fantastic. How about yourself?
Woo!
Pretty good, man. Just here, on my day off, trying to, get myself back together after working like a whole 3-day weekend. So yeah, I'm getting there.
All right, all right.
Yeah, so I just gotta say thank you very much for actually giving us this opportunity to have you on the show. We really and truly do appreciate it. We know we were trying to get you on for a while now, but due to several schedule clashes and time constraints, we couldn't make that happen at that time. But you know what? Slowly but surely, now here we are. And yeah, thank you very much.
No, thank
Um,
you. Thank you. The man, I don't know. This is an honor for me. Like, uh yeah, with the time constraints and everything, like I finally am able to be on your show.
awesome, awesome. Yeah, thank you very much. So, yeah, man. So you and Nate are actual brothers, right?
Actually, no, we're best friends since high
Okay,
school,
okay.
but pretty much brothers, inseparable to say the least, you know.
Yeah, that happens. That happens. Trust me. I know how it is.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, Queen J said to tell you, she's very proud of you.
Oh, yes,
Queen J is
she's
one of our good friends in podcasting.
yes, she
Um,
is. I've done one of hers before and it was really fun. So this is my second ever podcast of somebody else's, and like you said earlier, this is our Nate and I's first intro to podcasting as well. So it's pretty fun so far.
yeah, yeah. Um, get used to, because there's times when podcasters and YouTubers and content creators, they tend to collab on certain episodes. We've had several instances where we've had other podcasters, like we've had Queen J, and we've had not just for like
The Wrestle
15 minutes
Crew.
of fandom.
Mm.
Who?
The Wrestle Crew.
Yeah, the wrestle crew. Oh man, how we got well, we got them on individually, but the fact that we made that
Yeah,
happen, that was great.
yeah.
But we've had
Man,
them.
They're
We've
like
had
Wu Tang. They're like Wu
oh yeah.
Tang, man. There's so many of them.
I,
oh, I
I
believe it.
told, I told them guys, if I'm ever in Philly, man, don't jump me, man. I'll try to buy drinks for all of them, but the first round for all of them, but just don't jump me, man.
Right.
Yeah, hopefully when I go
But,
there next month, man, we all good to go.
yeah, we had Queen J and her good girl, bad girl podcast co-host, um, Keita Hubbard on our show. We
Okay.
had Jay Giles, who's also Keita Hubbard's co-host on another show, Lost in the Mid Card, which is another podcast, Power Ups and Power Bombs. So yeah, we've had several podcasters on our show. We've had them back on our show before. Just a heads up, we may be hitting you and Nate up again um, down the line for a pay-per-view predictions panel, like we've done with other people that we've had on our show before. So just look out for that. But
Yeah,
um,
that would be awesome.
But yeah, man. So Texas, man, how's the weather? You're in Dallas, right?
No, I'm just up well, just south of that. It's probably right before Dallas. area. But um, anyway, it's not that far from Dallas.
Ah,
Uh,
okay.
but
Yeah.
the weather's good. Like, I mean, it's hot, but
I could
that's tech.
imagine. I used to be in San Antonio for like, I guess you could say 8 months, almost 8 months. And yeah, it was I felt the beginning of summer there, and yeah, it was getting hot over there.
Oh yeah.
Um, Texas is a nice place though. I've been to San Antonio, been to Austin, been to Houston.
Hmm.
Um, I've seen some cool stuff. Yeah, it's a pretty nice place. But yeah, man. So, what was the pay per view or the event that got you that made you become a professional wrestling fan? Like, how'd your fandom
Oh.
start?
Let's see. I was probably about 5 or 6, and I think maybe Raw was on, uh, and I can't remember who it was. If it was my uncle or a family friend that was watching it, but they turned it on and I was watching the action. I was like, oh man, I like action stuff. I used to like, or I still like Ninja Turtles and all the Power Rangers. Old school though. I don't really get into the new stuff, but yeah, like the just watching it and uh that was the WWE was my first introduction, and then when I saw WCW, it really hooked me because of the cruiserweight division. Because I'm a short guy myself, I'm only 5'5", so you know,
Okay.
not that big of a person. And watching those dudes like just fly through the air and defy gravity, just that really set me in. My first ever, um, I think I went to Raw first. Yeah, I did. I went to Raw first with my grandmother, and then I went to WrestleMania 17 when it came to Houston. And man, that was like, I mean, even though I was there, besides that fact, I feel like it's the best WrestleMania ever, in my opinion.
WrestleMania 17, right? That was the one where Trish Stratus. No, it was Vince McMahon versus Shane McMahon, right?
Yes, yeah, and then it was also Stone Cold and versus The Rock, and The Rock Stone Cold sided with Vince McMahon. And then
Yeah,
that TLC 2, I believe, because they had the TLC in SummerSlam, but then the TLC 2.
yeah. I remembered. That was a rough yet triumphant night for Vince McMahon because, yeah, you know what? He lost to his son Shane, and I
Hmm.
mean, Linda McMahon gave him a low blow during the match. Trish Stratus interfered with that match, or I think, or was it? Oh yeah, I think Trish Stratus interfered with that match,
I believe so. It's
and
been a while.
then yeah, and then lo and behold, he goes and ends up Stone Cold ends up turning heel,
Yeah.
and after all the years of being at odds, he finally sides with Vince McMahon. So it was pretty much a night of highs of crazy lows and crazy highs for Vince McMahon.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow, that was a pretty good WrestleMania. I remember that.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, but yeah, so go ahead.
No, I didn't say anything. I just said, like I was agreeing with you. Like that was the best.
Yeah. So in terms of so you got into like kind of like on the tail end of WCW as well because WCW was pretty much done. Well, they were already bought up by Vince McMahon around that time.
Uh, yeah. Well, I started watching WCW a little bit beforehand, but then it was basically towards the end. Like I would say, like halfway through WCW, like uh, right before they bought him out, but on the verge of being bought out is when I started watching WCW because uh, I just remember Chris Jericho doing the 1,001 holds, and then Goldberg's undefeated streak and all that kind of stuff. Uh
You're on
oh.
mute, man.
Yeah, you gotta always you gotta always um you gotta always look the way how he comes up with all these creative ways to annoy his opponents and all that stuff. Like I
Mm,
remember the year before that, he had a feud with Chris Benoit, and he
mm.
had a thing where he would it was a poem he wrote, and he would wrestle Chris Benoit as a goat. He would wrestle Chris Benoit on a boat. He would wrestle Chris Benoit by his side, or Chris Benoit as his bride. And I was like, damn, Jericho was a funny dude, man. Oh jeez.
Yeah,
Jericho is always like coming up with something to piss people off, and it's like he's one of those guys that you just love to hate, man. Like it's just oh man.
right,
I'm
right.
just sorry that with Jericho they didn't have him with that personality when he faced DX. Because when they had Jericho facing DX, they had him as serious Jericho for that little stint, for that little what was it, from 2008 to like 2010, I guess you could say. They
Yeah,
had him like all serious and whatnot too. And I was like, yeah, I can understand where they're going with that, but like it just didn't suit Jericho, man. Like certain people that whole seriousness suits them, and certain people it doesn't. And Jericho is just it's working for Otis. It worked for Triple H,
yes.
but it just doesn't work for Jericho, man. Jericho has to be a different kind of heel for that. But yeah, um, so what were some of your like fondest memories of going to shows, man? Like of going to like wrestling shows, and did you ever get to meet any wrestlers while you were a fan, while being a fan too, or have you only seen them from afar?
I've only seen them from afar. I know that one time I begged my mom when it was WrestleMania 17. Her coworker was also going, and they were gonna go do an autograph signing. I was like, "Oh, mom, please let her take me, please!" And she's like, "You got to go to school." And I was so mad. I was just like, "Ah." And but I haven't really seen any like. Well, I did meet a few at a couple of indie shows. I've met Lance Archer and Sean Devari at a couple of indie shows I forgot about until just now. Um, but other than that, I haven't really met like too many. It's always been afar. So yeah. Um, some of the fondest memories though would be WrestleMania. My uncle, he passed away in 2005. I was really close to him. He took me, and we both like just had an amazing time. And that again another sentimental reason why I love WrestleMania 17 as well. Um, and then I've been to a couple of Raws. I went to the Royal Rumble, Money in the Bank. I've been to a few shows, not very many of WWE, mostly uh, small indie shows when I was in high school.
Oh, you had on mute, man.
Yeah. Give me a second. Hold on.
Okay. Yeah, no problem.
That's all good, man. So, yeah, man. So you saying, yeah, back in the day, your most memorable and stuff, man. Who were like, your favorites now that you like to watch?
Let's see. My favorites now. Um, I don't know. I like to analyze it from the athletic point of view. So, like, everyone is my favorite. Heel, face, doesn't matter. Like, everybody, as long as they can, like, keep my interest or, like, do a move where I'm just like, oh, man, that was, or like a promo or something that was just like, that was awesome. Uh, I don't really have, like, favorites, but I used to when I was not necessarily. I'm still, a mark and all that stuff and I'm not into the game. Uh but now that I'm grown up, I've analyzed it a little bit different. But as a kid, The Rock, Stone Cold, Undertaker, Kurt Angle, Chris Jericho, many of the like the Attitude Era people, uh DX was like my favorite tag team, and I would emulate them all the time. Like who didn't emulate them? Just suck it.
Oh, don't get me started with that, man. Don't get me started with that. I'm back, y'all. I just had to, refresh my screen because my screen was frozen. But man, you got. I can
Yeah.
tell you back in my. I keep telling people this story. Everybody. I think everybody emulated DX. They
Hmm.
pretty much did the cross chop and got in trouble for it.
Yes. Yes.
Um, I never did because I grew up in a different culture, so they didn't even know what that was. You
Hmm.
know, in a different culture in a different country, so they didn't really know. Like they didn't really catch on to it. But yeah, me and my friend Bobby. Oh, geez, we used to emulate DX and mix it with Jay and Silent Bob. I don't know if you know who those two are.
Oh,
But
okay. Yeah. Those are.
we used to mix those two, so you could imagine the amount of dastardly things we
Mhm.
have told people or said. I remembered we used to come up with our own phrases and we used to have a thing where, like, for example, if I'd see Rob with his new shirt, I'd point at Rob and I'd be like, hey you, and Bobby would be like, yeah, you with the gray shirt, and then in unison we'd be like, hey, F you in your gray shirt. We would do stuff like that to people, but we would make sure that we're afar because that way they can't catch up to us and be like, "What'd you guys say?"
Yeah.
Then we probably in a car passing by, or yeah, we were oh man, but yeah, you said yeah, DX was one of your favorites, and who else, man?
Oh yeah. The Rock, Stone Cold, Undertaker, Chris Jericho. Basically, a lot of the Attitude Era from what I was growing up with, and then a lot of the cruiserweights. Like, let's see, I'm trying to think because it's been a while since I've like had to go down memory lane. Let me think. Well, Rey Mysterio was one big one too, for sure. Like hands down. Uh, Without the mask though, like with the mask in WWE, it was so. I mean, I still loved him in that, but I don't know. After he lost the mask in WCW, his whole demeanor changed to this really like I don't know. It was really cool. Like I want to be that guy.
Yeah, it's still crazy how like he lost that mask. I remember that was 1999. He lost that mask,
Hmm.
and he kept the mask off for the remainder of his time that he was in WCW.
Yeah.
And WCW gets bought out,
Hmm.
and they signed Rey Mysterio the next year, 2002. But he's coming back with the mask. I'm like, that kind of made no sense. It was like we already know he looks like what he looks like without the mask.
Right.
Why would you have him, keep it on? Because in wrestling, y'all know that once a luchador loses their mask, it's either they retire or they keep wrestling without it because the whole
Hmm.
novelty of it is gone. But I guess they knew what they were doing, and in all honesty, it wasn't even that bad. I mean, it was still we still loved Rey Mysterio. We still enjoyed seeing him and seeing him win the title and all that stuff. But yeah,
Yeah. It's
um,
like you said with the lucha, if they lose their mask, that's a big deal. But I think with the way that WWE brought it back, it was like, you know what? We're gonna take him, and because of his heritage, we're gonna use it to bring in more of those people.
yeah.
So
So in terms of now in terms of you and Nate,
mhm.
how did y'all end up meeting up, man? How did that friendship happen, man? Because
Okay, yeah.
I'm
So
curious about that.
all right, it was let's see, I'm gonna count for a second, so bear with me. I'm gonna do a brief little in my head counting. 2006, or maybe even like 2005, like the late years of 2005. um, I ended up going to the school that my mom worked at, and because I was doing horrible in other schools because of the depression of losing my uncle, and she said, "Hey, they have a wrestling team," which I knew they had wrestling at the other schools, but I don't know, something about just my depression and everything just didn't want to try out for those. So my mom was like, "Oh, let me talk to the coach and blah blah blah." Well, day one, uh, on the mat, I come in and coach is like, "All right, you need a partner. Nate, raise your hand." He raised his hand and it's like, "That's your partner." And then from there, just history. Like we would. It wasn't until like uh maybe a few weeks or so later we were like, "Hey, you like pro wrestling? Hey, me too." And like we would hang out all the time, and then we ended up getting another little group together with me, him, and two other people, and we would just hang out all the time. We'd go over to Nate's house and wrestle in his backyard on the trampoline and do. I mean, like surprisingly, nobody got injured, but man, we would do some crazy stuff.
That's cool. That's cool. Yeah. Wow. I could imagine. I could imagine the fact that you're chaotic Nick and
Yeah,
he's Nate outrage. I could only imagine if y'all how y'all were with the whole DX thing, like emulating them with those two names. It was probably like, oh man, everybody in that school was probably like, oh, here they come again. And the principal would probably give you that look like, I'm watching you two. You two are slackers, like the guy from Back to the Future.
yeah. Well, we wouldn't necessarily get in trouble at school, but we would definitely have some people to like some other students tell us to shut up and all that stuff, but we'd just be like, whatever. And we continue to do our thing, and they'd just be like, and kind of grumble and say their explicit words and walk off like nothing happened.
Yeah.
So, so yeah, we were not troublemakers, but we definitely did some shenanigans.
Yeah. I tell you, high school days, high school days were so much fun, man. Especially like because I went to high school during the pretty much during the Attitude Era because I graduated 2001. So the
Okay.
Attitude Era was still going on. I started high school in 1995,
Hmm.
and that was 1995 was still the new generation era, and generation era was from 94 to like I guess what was it 90s 97. So yeah, I was um, in high school at that time, and it was just fun times like just going to school the next day and talking about Raw and Nitro. Like, yo, did you see what happened? Did you see how Stone Cold Steve Austin, stunned Vince McMahon? Or yo, Dude Love, Mick Foley, they finally brought out Dude Love, and he actually won the titles with Stone Cold Steve Austin. And
Yeah.
Bret Hart left WWE for WCW and all that stuff. So yeah, it was an amazing time at that time. And I remember that I used to like buy the wrestling magazines every month. That was another thing too.
Yeah.
And I would be like, when I'd see somebody from the Indies, like, oh, I saw Taz debut in 2000. I was like, I would tell my cousin, yo, dude, Taz, do you know who that is? That's Taz, dude, like from ECW. Business is about to pick up. Like Kurt Angle getting choked out. That was just the beginning of it. It's and that kind of disappointed me because then when I saw like Taz go to WWE, like he had a bit of momentum for like a couple of months, but then all of a sudden it just stopped. I don't know why, but yeah, but wrestling back then was so great. So I just got one more question. Actually, one of our mods has a question. I don't know if you could see it. Um, but
Uh,
so
to train become a wrestler.
yeah, Miss
That
Jen
one.
is asking us, um, how old were you when you started training to become a wrestler?
Oh man, I wish I was a wrestler. To be honest, I'm not. I was wrestling in high school. That was about it. So I only
Yeah.
have that collegiate style. But if I did, oh man, I don't know. I don't know what I would do with myself if I was a professional wrestler. I'd probably live the best life.
Yeah. So Miss Jen, A lot of us podcasters have nicknames, so it doesn't necessarily mean we're actually wrestlers. Just that we have a nickname that we do it. Like, I'm the worldwide star boy. Rob is Rob Bass, the Delaware's greatest American hero. Kathy is Kathy Knight. She finally got a last name after being just known as Kathy. So, just like your daughter's Alicia the Warrior Princess and so on. So, yeah, I know he sounds like he's a wrestler, chaotic Nick, and his best friend is Nate Outrage, and they sound like wrestlers, but they're not. But but they're really cool people though. They're really cool podcasters. But
Oh,
speaking
thank
of
you.
podcasts, man,
Mhm.
my last question before I turn over to Rob.
Okay.
Tell us about outrageously chaotic. How did it come together? What can we expect? What it's about? All that good stuff.
Okay. So it started out as like anything, an idea, just two guys talking. Hey, man, we should do this. Yeah, we should. And I finally just was like, you know what? Let's do it. Let's stop talking about it and be about it, and let's do it. And I mean, it's not just about wrestling. I mean, it's mainly about wrestling because that's what we love, but it's just all over the place. Like our name says, outrageously chaotic. It's going to be, from wrestling to just everyday things to, you know, anime, comic books, whatever you, just a bunch of different stuff. But yes, we mainly focus on wrestling. Uh, but we're going to try to, because there are a lot of wrestling podcasts, we kind of try to want to make it a little bit less, of hearing like people tune in and they're like, oh man, I'm tired of hearing the same old thing. This person telling about this person, the same situation, just different views, which is that's not bad. It's just repetitive to talk about the same stuff that other people are talking about, to me at least, because I like to stand out. I don't like to just continue on to the same thing. I want to be like, hey, I want to do this because nobody's talking about it. And so that's basically what we're about, is just trying to do things in a just a random fashion. I mean, I have ADHD, so I'm all over the place when it comes to things. I'm like, man, there's a squirrel over there, and oh, there's that, and then like my body just continuously thinks of so many different things. So uh, I just try to get it out of my brain. And same with Nate. He has some ideas. I'm like, let's do it. Like, let's not just sit on it. Let's do it. And so that's really about all. Is just things to come. Hopefully, there'll be a whole bunch of people to come view us and watch, and turns into something that we could like build a better community, because I also want to build a better community for the wrestling community, or just in general, of bringing more positivity to the world, instead of oh, all we hear about is COVID, this or this disaster, that disaster, something negative all the time on the news. I want to bring something positive, like, hey, what are you passionate about? Let's talk about that.
That's a great way to look at things too. I like the way how you said you like to stand out. And that is exactly what I thought when I started Ringside Society. I was like, you know what? I really need us to like. There's everybody else has a podcast.
Hmm.
There's like a hundred and something, 200, 300 something other podcasts out there, all not just in the country, all over the world. And
Right,
I'm like,
right.
I asked myself, Remy, what would you say if somebody were to come up to you and be like, you have a podcast. Why should we listen to your podcast? And the last answer I just want to say is it's about wrestling. You know, that's one of the things. So I was like, what? I got before I answer that, I got to make this podcast stand out, and that's why I started doing. I was like, okay, I know I want to like um interview wrestlers, but what else? There has to be more. And then my friend was like, think out of the box. There's people that are fans too. So I was like, yeah, you're right. I'll actually interview wrestling fans because there's a lot of notable wrestling fans out there that have been showing the dedication. And I was like, you know something? they deserve some shine. They deserve to, have a spotlight on them, uh, to let people know who they are, and not just who they are, but what wrestling means to them, and so on. And I was like, okay, so 50 minutes of fandom came. That's how 50 minutes of fandom came out to play. And Kathy, our other co-host, who couldn't be here, she was the first guest, but that was on another. That was for another podcast I was working on. And then I was like, okay, what else? What else? Maybe I should interview some people, have some other people as main guests other than wrestlers. So I was like, let me see if I would interview a Vince McMahon, a Dixie Carter, um, a Tony Khan. Why not a well? I would Booker T. I would definitely interview Booker T.
Mm.
He runs reality wrestling, but why not Kyle Hessler, who runs Poly Pro Wrestling, or Brittany Nicole, who runs, or Brittany Nicole, Mont Fleming, Benjamin Jason Wood, who actually run Elevate Pro, or a Jeremy Gomez, who runs GCW. So I was like, okay, promotion owners are in. We'll interview some referees. But let's be honest, if we could interview Earl Hebner, the Hebner family, and Bryce Remsburg, why not? Like for example, our guest last night was Paul E, who does refereeing for Nightmare Factory. So interview referees, we'll interview managers, we'll interview. And what I got into my head was, if we'll do this for WWE, then we'll do this for the independent scene, because there are people out there that are just that would just like that chance, like that spotlight, to tell their story, to tell how they came to be in this industry. So that's where us interviewing everybody else, came from. And I just wanted us to stand out. So then once we're done standing out, people will be like, and if that person were to come and say, well, there's a lot of other wrestling podcasts, why should we interview you? Okay, well, one, we're not just a wrestling we're not just a wrestling podcast. We're the Wrestling Fans podcast. Okay, and the reason why we're the Wrestling Fans podcast, because we do interviews. We interview people on, because there's two sides of the spectrum. I always say, of the wrestling spectrum. There's the in-ring performers and people putting on the show, and then of course there's the other side, which is us, the fans, who make it happen. The fans, the podcasters, the content creators, and so on. So we interview wrestlers, managers, promoters, documentarians, the people that do the entrance themes, etc., etc. But on the other side, we have a segment called 15 Minutes of Fandom, where we interview wrestling fans like yourself. I would tell that person, like yourself. So now you have an even big chance of being on our show if you're interested. If you're interested, let's set up a date and time. We can make it happen. You ain't got to be scared. It's just us talking about wrestling. Nobody's here to ridicule you. We also do giveaways every season. We have a summer giveaway going right now, which we're gonna announce the winner this evening, by the way. And we also talk about topics and stuff like that. So I mean, yeah, and I would say we're more than a podcast. We're actually, in a sense, a bit of I guess, a movement, because I mean, if you check our Instagram, we're always promoting shows. We're promoting shows from all over the country.
Yeah.
So we're that brand that, if you're like, okay, I'm in Dallas, Texas. What show is in Dallas, Texas? Let's see what Ringside Society has. Oh snap, they got that going on tonight, Dallas. I know what I'm doing tonight. I know what I'm doing tonight.
Mm.
Or what's going on in Charlotte, Louisiana, or what's going on in Oceanside, California. So that's how. That's why I like the way you said stand up, because you thought just like me when you were starting this. I think a lot of people, they tend not to think about it like it's all about interviewing. No, you got to find a way to make yourself stand out. And we've done, in my opinion, we've done pretty well for ourselves. We're building every day, and we have a lot more people, getting more and more and into us and following us, and just giving us that respect. And if I could give you any advice, man, you probably noticed already, but I'm sorry if I'm telling it to you again,
No, it's
but
okay.
I'm gonna if nobody told you this before, I'll tell you right now. It's not, and this is actually off of one of our shirts that we have on our Teespring store. It's not a race for popularity and recognition. I forgot what the shirt said. But it's not a race for popularity, but it's a marathon for um geez, I'm misquoting it, Rob. Geez, and you probably I'll I'll let it get back to you. But for the short part I'm saying is it's not a race, it's a marathon. But
Right.
Rob, go ahead, man. The floor is yours.
All right, sweet man. No problem. Thank you, Grammy. So, what's going on, Nick, man? How's everything going your way?
It's going all right. How about yours?
Pretty good, man. It was storming all day, man. Thunder, lightning, heavy rain. Everything stopped now. So after the show, I'm definitely going out and get me some dinner. So I am starving.
All right.
Hey, yeah. So if my stomach starts growling and making noises, you know what I mean. Forgive me. I'm sorry. You know what I mean. It's just it's like, hey, yeah, you need to grow up.
Yeah, I get it. I get it.
That's right. So you said you're like a little south of Dallas and all, right?
Yeah, I'm near the Willis area. Um, so it's in between. Like it says the from my exit to where it says Dallas is
Mhm.
says it's about 48 miles or so. So it's kind of a little distance, but not too far. It's probably another 30, 45 minutes.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So, is your city like based on Harlan, Texas, from King of the Hill? I love that show, and they said it's like an amalgam of some cities, around that area,
I
So
mean,
is yours kind of like that, man?
it's possible. I mean, I just moved here not too long ago. I used to live out in
Oh, okay, okay.
I used to live in the Conroe area, so I only moved like
Mm,
15 minutes from there. Conroe is the main like lake area, so we have a lot of lake people and all that stuff. And but yeah, I mean, it's where I'm at. It's the country, so it's kind of got a little bit of that Hank Hill, King of the Hill vibe.
that's right. Like y'all say what about my lawn?
Dude, what?
Yeah,
Nate
yeah.
can actually do it. He can do it the best. Like I
You
don't
do a
know.
good one.
Yeah, he can do a good. Like he's like, whoa, god dang it, Bobby, and
Uh,
it works.
yeah. What
He
was it?
does it great.
Like like I got the shirt, the Beavis and Butthead
Yeah,
cornhole link there, right?
I used to
Like
love watching that.
uh, 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 Mr. Anderson, he was like, them dang kids done whacking in my tool shed.
They keep whacking in my tool shed.
Yeah, he's done whacking in the tool shed.
Yeah,
So, man, yeah, like we were talking earlier, like indie wrestling and all that stuff, man. Do you have any effect? Do you go to a lot of indie shows in Texas? Because, man, there is so much, over there, like around your area, probably Houston. I
man.
don't know how close you are to Houston, and,
It's about 45-minute drive to
yeah.
Houston. So I mean, either way, like everything's out where I live is about 45 minutes to each main. Well, except for Austin and San Antonio, but like from Dallas and Houston, it's probably about 45 minutes. So I'm about in between there. And yeah, I when I was in high school with Nate and all them, we would go to a place out in Cyprus. It was WOW. Tugboat Taylor and his son Chaz Taylor were like, well, Tugboat was the main owner, and he passed away, so they kind of like as his time was going on, they changed to NWA Houston, uh, and then it went to something else, and now it's not it anymore. But then you got Booker T. I've been to one reality of wrestling show, which was really awesome because it was just a house show. It wasn't like the TV tapings or anything like that. Yeah, out in Spring, and Booker T was just casually hanging out, walking around, and like riding on his little Segway or whatever. It was pretty funny. My brother was like, "Oh man, let's go," and I was like, "Man, I'm watching the match. I mean, I can talk to Booker T anytime if as soon as we're done." But I just kept focusing on the matches. What else? There's Texas All Star Wrestling. they still run. Um, there was a new one. Well, to me, it's new. I mean, it's been there for a while, but I haven't been able to really get in touch with everything since high school because life. But let's see. Oh, I just went to it like a month ago. I can't even remember the name. New Texas Pro Wrestling. There it was. Uh, but like you said, we have so many different shows that indies that we can watch and have and all that stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah. Indie wrestling's awesome, man.
Mm.
I helped with 1CW and stuff, and they're like training me to do ref stuff, manager and all that. Go, like every Tuesday and all, I go to training. Yeah, actually,
Mm.
a Saturday, man, I got beat up by a wrestler. I was knocked out, and for the rest of the night, I'm like, "Will somebody answer that damn phone?" Like that, you know what I mean? So yeah, man, that Ty awesome. I hope somebody gets him back, next show, man. He beat me up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty fun, man. Getting involved, man. It's awesome, man. Yeah, we also had the Renegade Twins come up there. They've been out there, down south around that way, kicking butt. Yeah, they actually
Okay.
came out by me, pulled out some chairs, and they were sitting next to me and all. And then like they were kicking everybody's butt in front of me. I was like, let me move out the way a little bit because I don't want to get any shrapnel of that. You know what I mean, man? Because they go in there and they dispense justice. Like, move.
Oh man.
That's right. So, man, you were watching wrestling at the Attitude Era and stuff, man. Did you get to catch any ECW or any of that stuff?
Vaguely, like it kind of happened. One night I just was turning on the TV and uh, I happened to see it and I was just like, whoa! Like I loved ECW. I would try to YouTube it and all that stuff and make sure I could try to see what's up and uh, like watching Rob Van Dam, Sabu, Just Incredible, Sandman, Tommy Dreamer, Raven, like all those guys, Taz, like Taz for a short dude, man. Like watching his suplex, obviously the suplex machine, man, it was just like, whoa. Like, I mean, I don't know. I'm one of those, like I said, I'm a short guy, so I don't really have that much to do. So I'm a more like, I like the technical style. So the Eddies and the Chris Benoit's, the Taz, Kurt Angles, stuff like that, just the technical stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah, that was yeah. I'm with you on that. I like Dean Malenko and all. That's kind of my favorite
Mm.
wrestling and all too, man. Like when they get all technical with moves, yeah, yeah. Man, I used to go to ECW shows and they come around here in Delaware and all. They come to the colleges like Dell State, U of D, Wesley. My mom though, she wouldn't let me go take my brother to freaking ECW up in Philly, like the ECW stadium, man. I was like, I'm like, come on, mom, why you gotta be like that and all? And then hear these stories that are grown up and all. I'm like, thank you. Oh my lord. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
because I've met like wrestlers and stuff, that wrestled for there or did backstage stuff and when they're early in their career and they told me some stories. And I'm like, oh man, I'm glad I would go up there 16, 17 years old, bring my 10-year-old, 11-year-old brother, man. Woo! Man.
Oh man.
Because the one thing we did with ECW, we were at a show, we went out to backstage and all trying to see if we could see any wrestlers. And we were walking out there, Rob Van Dam, Bill Alfonso, them were out there. Big smoke cloud around. My brother's like, yo, there's a skunk out here. I think, they need to watch out. And I'm like, that's right, I mean, come on, let's go on over here.
Yeah, yeah.
That's cool. So, man, you were talking about amateur wrestling, man. I used to be an amateur wrestler too, man. Yeah, how fun was it? Did you wrestle like all through high school or just a couple years or?
Well, at the time, uh, all up until my senior year, because my senior year I was officially too old because I was about 20 years old. Because
Okay.
I was held back, and then I failed a grade. So being 2 years older than uh, the cutoff, I had to stop at my senior year. But I did it through ninth through my junior year. So
Yeah, that's cool.
yeah, it was really fun. I started out as 125, and then towards the end I was at 130. So I only gained 5 pounds, but I mean, still, fast paced though. All of us little guys, man, we're fast paced.
Look, man, hey, I'm like 6 feet tall, but I only weigh like about 150 pounds, man. So yeah, I wrestled the lighter weights, in high school too. I was like 130, 135, you know what I mean? But I always wrestled a weight class above what I weighed because I did that one year, like wrestled what I weighed, and I was trying to cut weight the whole year, and it sucked. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna work that much harder and all that, and eat what I want to eat, and then I'm gonna wrestle above my weight and dominate. And, I did okay for myself. I
Yeah.
mean, I would play mind games, you know what I mean? I would go into the locker room, and I'm knowing home dude hasn't eaten like a solid meal in like a week. He's just eating ice chips. I'm rolling in there with a sub or a pizza.
Oh
Staying right
man.
up on the scale, just looking at him in their eye like, what's up? What's up, man? It's like, oh, yeah, you're good. You're like, a couple pounds underweight, and that's right.
Yeah, yeah. So you're sitting there eating while you, yeah, that's a good mind game.
Oh, they would hate me. Oh, people used to hate me. I would go to like tournaments,
Yeah,
afterward, and they would just be like, there's that jerk. You know what I mean? I hate him. Man, somebody needs to beat him. And come on the mat, man. I ain't even gonna pin you. It's tech fall time with me. You know what I mean?
oh yeah.
Oh man. So I wanted to ask about ECW question, man. I seen somebody
Okay.
posted. I think it was today, the other day, or whatever. Spike Dudley and New Jack. Who was actually crazier in ECW, man? Do you think? I mean, yeah, you always hear the stories, New
Yeah.
Jack jumping off balconies and all, but you got to forget Spike Dudley was like, about my size, 6 feet, 150 pounds, doing the thing, like almost everything, man. Like, is
I
it
mean,
equal? Is there somebody? Because I'm like, I never thought of that. That's a good question.
that is a good question. I mean, New Jack tried to kill you, whereas Spike Dudley was trying to get killed. So it's like, I mean, who was the crazier one? Either wanting to get killed or doing the killing. And
That's true.
I would say probably Spike because he would take more damage than New Jack. I mean, New Jack would dish it out, but I don't think I ever seen him like truly get manhandled like Spike.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say, Nate. Yeah, he was like New Jack.
Right
Yeah, New
away, yeah.
Jack, man, he was definitely unstable, man. But yeah, like you said, man, Spike, yeah, he would go out there and be like, all right, I'm taking that bump, you know what I mean? Yeah,
Yeah.
you thought power bomb me off top of a balcony, you know what I mean? Like, all right,
Hmm.
yeah. It's like I literally at a show one time watched Bubba Ray Dudley. Spike Dudley was in a tag match. It was him and Balls versus the Dudleys, and they were fighting out like about 5-10 feet from me. Bubba Ray picks up Spike Dudley and power bombs him on a desk. Like, no,
Oh,
no soft, just boom. And it wasn't like a desk, like a breakaway fit. No, it was a school desk. You know what I mean? Like, we were in
oh,
college. And oh my, I was just like, and he got it. He finished in the match. I'm like, oh, I can't be a wrestler after I seen that. Like, no, no. Oh man. So I got on y'all's podcast, man. Have you ever interviewed any wrestlers, or got a chance to do any of that yet?
not yet. We only did Queen J as our very first interviewer, so we're slowly, like I said, we're kind of slowly starting everything, so we haven't really gotten uh too deep in. Probably about our foot in,
Yeah,
but we want to do some. I mean, I would want to interview wrestlers. I just like you guys. I mean, just whomever really, but yeah, I think it would be awesome to interview wrestlers.
that's cool. Hey man, yeah. If you, I mean, I might have a couple of these for y'all, help y'all out, man. If y'all need to do that, man, just email me one day, point you in the right direction or something.
Okay, yeah, that'd be awesome.
Ain't nothing wrong with
Yeah,
that, man.
yeah. If y'all ever want us to be on y'all show as guests, let us know. Don't we're all about forming friendships and relationships across from the wrestling community. So I mean, if y'all ever want myself or Rob or Kathy or even our two mods, Mrs. Jen and Alicia there, or if you want all of us on there, just let us know. Just shoot us a message and we'll definitely
Oh, that'd
you
be
know.
awesome.
'Cause I'm gonna tell you right now, and Nate, I know you're watching this, but on one of our pay-per-views, it might be AEW. I know if y'all watch AEW, it might be AEW or WWE.
Oh, I
But
watch.
we're gonna have y'all back on for a pay-per-view predictions episode because if you were a guest on us on our show for 15 minutes of fandom, we're gonna eventually have you back on for one of those. So just y'all don't go too far now. But yeah, my bad, Rob. Go ahead.
Oh, no, you're good. Yeah, I just got like pretty much one more question, man.
Okay.
I seen a little article about The Rock today and stuff, man. I think it was talking about him doing a Black Adam movie or whatever. So I
Yeah.
figured, I was just off the top of my head, man. Like, what are your favorite Rock movies, man? Because Rock, he's a pretty good actor, man. He's coming, does his thing, man. So, I mean, if you don't have a favorite one, maybe a
Let
couple
me
of them or
think.
whatever.
Uh,
If you can think.
yeah. Let me think. I liked him in that CIA movie with Kevin Hart.
Yeah,
That was
that was a good
hilarious.
one. Yes, it
Um,
was.
like the Scorpion King. That was the Scorpion King itself, not the Mummy, but the Scorpion King itself. That was
Yeah.
like when his like breakthrough stuff. That was pretty good. I used to like that. What else? I liked Walking Tall too. That was pretty cool.
Ooh, yeah. I actually went to the theaters with my buddy to see that, and the theater was sold out, and we literally stood in the aisle. Well, he did. I went and stole a chair from outside, stuck in the aisle, and sat there. Like
Yeah, man. So yeah, that's about the only ones that I can remember that are really good. I mean, Jumanji's okay, but I
yeah.
think they
I
just
haven't
used
seen the
people.
second one.
It's all right. Oh yeah,
Gridiron
Gridiron
Gang.
Gang. Too. Yeah,
My mom, she loves those like the Tooth Fairy. What was the one where he's the quarterback with the girl?
yeah, that was the Tooth
Game
Fairy.
Plan.
Oh no,
Game
yeah,
Plan.
Game Plan.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Even that, whenever there's a commercial of a rock movie on there, I'll see their mom be like, "Ooh, the Rock." It's like Elvis, like, "Ooh, Elvis." It's like that. It's
yeah.
like Elvis and the Rock. Those are her men.
Hey, those aren't too
Yeah, I
bad
like
of
it.
men to have, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. Hey, I guess not. You know what I mean? Hey. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I had to pick. I like the Rundown. I like a lot of
Yeah,
them. There's not too many rock movies that I'm like, yeah, that one wasn't great. Even them little low budget ones or whatever, they're pretty good.
right, right.
Yeah, I do need to see his show Ballers or whatever he did on HBO or whatever. I haven't seen that. I heard that's pretty good.
Yeah, I haven't seen that either, so I can't tell it.
Yeah, I haven't seen it either. I heard he's like a sports agent or something like that. So,
Hmm.
but yeah, man, I do want to say I want to say thank you for taking time out of your day. Come on and chat with us about wrestling, all that good stuff, man. I had a blast. Man, I hope you all, start kicking butt in, life, all that, your podcast. I start, blow up, do all that good stuff, man.
Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate it. It was an honor. Like I'm truly thankful for you guys to take the opportunity and you know do this for us as fans and bringing a community together because that's what the world needs to bring people together instead of tearing us apart.
That's right. That's right. Always be positive.
Yeah.
That's right. So, yeah, man, I want to say before I pass back to Remy, man, yeah, have a great day and all that good stuff, man.
All right, you as well. Thank you.
Nick, thank you very much for actually giving us this opportunity. In terms of the quote I was trying to quote, it was
Mhm.
actually it's not a race for popularity and recognition. It's a marathon for excellence and respectability. That's what I meant to say. So
Okay,
that's what
that's
I
a good one.
yeah, that's what I pretty much go by, and that was actually from a tweet that we had pinned on our Twitter for a while, where we were saying it's we know we're low on followers because apparently now the big thing on social media, which is very sad in a way, is that it's a popularity contest.
Right.
Everybody's defined by how many followers they have. Or you only have 1,000 followers. Okay, well, I have 20,000. You ain't nothing, and da da da. And that's how people's lives. Some people's lives are valued by followers. When no, I mean it shouldn't be that way. And that's why. And I'll be honest, we don't have a lot of followers. I mean, we have like honestly, we just hit 800.
Hmm.
I think 804 to be exact. On Instagram, we have like barely 600. But at the same time, we're building. But at the same time, we're not really looking for that. We're just looking to like have an enjoyable platform that wrestlers and fans like can come on and tell their stories. Just shoot the breeze about wrestling with no drama or anything, you know.
Right.
For the most part, I don't have any. I myself personally, I don't have anything against any any podcasters. There is one, but I'm not gonna say their name because one, I don't want to give them any exposure, and two, I'm just waiting for them to actually say something about us, and then you're gonna see Rated R Remy come out. You don't want to see Rated R Remy come out. He's not a nice guy. But yeah, for the most part, I have nothing against any other podcasters. Um, and I encourage people. Matter of fact, I'm encouraged right now. Everybody, if y'all are listening, definitely check out the chaotic. I'm sorry, I keep saying chaotic,
That's
outrageously
okay.
chaotic. But at first, I was gonna say chaotic outrage.
That's
So
because
Nate,
that's
Nate,
what we call
Nate,
each other. So it's
Nate,
we I went with I'm sorry. I went with
go ahead.
the reason why I named it outrageously chaotic is because I want to put Nate first, man. He's always been putting me first on everything. Like if it's we're doing our thing, it's oh man, Nick and I and no man, it's us together. But like chaotic outrage podcast just didn't sound right. Outrageously chaotic podcast that flows so much better. So I was like, we're gonna do it that way. I know we call ourselves the chaotic outrage and all that stuff, but together it's the outrageously chaotic podcast because it just it flows better. So
Awesome. So yeah, I was gonna say chaotic outrage, but I was like, so Nate, please don't kick my ass, man. I was gonna include you in that. I was gonna say outrage, but I was like, wait a minute, it's outrageously chaotic. So for all of those of you that are listening to us right now, definitely go ahead and give these two young men um, a view for their podcast, a listen for their podcast. Still listen to us because we have a lot of interesting stuff over here too. But check them out. They talk more. They talk about more than just wrestling. They talk about anime and all that good stuff. And I know some of y'all watching right now love some good anime. So check them out. And like I said, don't be ashamed if you listen to more than one podcast. I listen to more than one podcast too. Like I said, it is like eating a different cereal every morning. You know, sometimes I wake up, I want Cheerios. Next morning I wake up, I want some cinnamon toast crunch. Heck, this Friday I think I want some Lucky Charms. There's a lot you can actually you know, there's a lot of podcasts to listen to out there, and plus everybody has a different opinion on certain things. You know, we may not like stuff that's going on in AEW. Somebody else might. We may have a reason. They'll have a reason too. Everybody has different opinion on certain things. And so just definitely give them a shot. They definitely are doing this because for the love of the game. And yeah, so that being said, it's about that time for us to shut down the show. Um, Nick, thank you very much for actually giving us the opportunity. We definitely intend to have you and Nate back on again in the very, very, very near future. So y'all don't go too far. And where can fans find you on social media if they want to, talk wrestling, or if they, want to appear on your show, or if they just want to listen to your show?
um so on Twitter, I believe we put it as chaotic outrage just because it was easier. I think outrageously chaotic was taken. Um, for my personal Twitter account, it's chaotic Nick, or it's like chaotic one Nick. So that'll be a little easier. If you find me, you can find all the other social medias. But yeah, chaotic one Nick is my personal Twitter, and then let me here. I'm sorry. Give me one moment. I'm gonna pull up on my phone so I can give you the exact uh, at for our yeah, it's chaotic underscore outrage. That's our podcast Twitter. So if you want to do that, and then my other half, Nate, is in outrage 91. That's his at. So if you want to find us, it's chaotic one Nick in outrage 91, and then chaotic underscore outrage. Those are our Twitters.
Awesome. So y'all definitely make sure y'all go and follow these two men. They're doing great things. And it's funny, chaotic, because you followed us, and we were like, okay, we got a new follower, Chaotic Nick. That's one more for the follow Fridays that we normally do. But then
Yeah,
after we saw that y'all had a tag team, y'all were like a duo. It was
yeah,
you and Nate, and we had Nate on a couple of months ago. Like, oh snap, Nate has a tag team partner. We got to get him on. We got to
yes,
make it happen. But and I met Nate through Queen J. We had she because she does her predictions panels too, and I was
yeah.
like, okay, well, I'll go ahead and let's go ahead and have Nate on, because we're always interviewing fans and so on. So yeah, but y'all definitely follow these two men. They're doing great things. And with that being said, Rob Bass, where you at on social media if fans want to talk wrestling, find out when your next appearance as a referee is going to be, and where can bookers and promoters find you if they want to book you for their shows.
You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch at Rob_Base82, and uh, you YouTube and Facebook Rob Base.
Awesome. So with that being said, if y'all want to find me on social media, you can find me on Twitter at the Remy Blue. You can also find me on Facebook under Remy Blue. It's a picture of me at WrestleMania 28. And our podcast is on Twitter and Instagram under at Ringside Society. We're also on Twitch, which is one of the platforms this episode is being streamed on. And you can find us at Ringside Society 2019 on Twitch. And we're also on YouTube, which is the other platform that this episode is being streamed on. So you can find us on YouTube. Just type in Ringside Society and you'll definitely find us. If you see that blue logo over there, it's definitely us. You're in the right spot. And subscribe to us, man. We got a lot more interesting interviews coming up. But in the meantime, you'll find a lot more interesting ones like this one with, Chaotic Nick. Our first ever 50 Minutes of Fandom, which was actually with Judy Kondo of the Philippines. And we have a lot of interesting main guests too, like, Referee Paulie and the Renegade Twins, and many more to come. As a matter of fact, this Wednesday, we'll be back again with another member of the Nightmare Factory family. He was actually in the graduating class, the first ever graduating class, and his name is actually Logan Taylor. Yes, he was also in the first match of the first student showcase. That's history right there. So he'll be on our show. We look forward to having him on as well. And we're also on Facebook. We have a Facebook group called Ringside Society, so check us out there. And we also have a Teespring store. Check out our Teespring store. Y'all cop a shirt, cop a tank top, cop a long sleeve shirt. Winter's coming up, so long sleeve shirts going to help you out right there. And we got coffee mugs and hat and face masks and all that. So um, definitely go through, cop a shirt, cop some sort of merch. All proceeds we get from that go back into keeping the show up and running and whatnot. So we definitely really appreciate that. But to those y'all that tuned in tonight live, thank you very much. We really and truly appreciate it. To those y'all that are going to tune in later on, thank you very much in advance. And to those of you that hate us, can't stand us, really and truly wish we'd go away, well, I'm very sorry you feel that way. But like Rob Bass at the Hershey theme park in Pennsylvania, we're not going anywhere for a while.
They hate us because they ain't us.
And we ain't stopping. So with that being said, we here at Ringside Society just want everybody to know that we're very well aware that everybody and their grandparents and their parents have a podcast. But we're not your grandparents' podcast. We're not your parents' podcast. As a matter of fact, we're not just any podcast. Hashtag we are not the same. With that being said, Rob Bass, one time for your mind, one time for the people, one time for the wrestling culture, and one time for Chaotic Nick, Nate Outrage, the outrageously chaotic podcast. What type of podcast are we?
We're the Wrestling Fans Podcast.
In fact, we're the Wrestling Fans Podcast, Ringside Society. So with that being said, we're still going through a pandemic. And until it's over, stay safe, stay healthy, be excellent to each other, and party on, dudes. We out. Peace.
See y'all. Good night. Stay classy,
Later.
Delaware.